name Robert Redford stands out. He's a legend.
Robert Redford tells Entertainment Weekly that his new movie, The Old Man and the Gun, will be his last.
Robert Redford is a renowned actor, celebrated for his numerous awards and his influence in the movie industry. However, behind all the success is a life filled with challenges. Redford has faced heartbreaking losses and struggles that most people never knew about. But just when it seemed the worst days were behind him, old age brought even greater tragedies. Now, at almost 90, Redford's life has changed in ways that have shocked many. His life now is something no one could have expected. But how does he live today? Join us as we uncover how Robert Redford lives at almost 90. How Robert Redford lives at 90. At almost 90, Robert Redford's life has become a shadow of the active years he once enjoyed. He has talked about how aging has made it hard for him to keep up with the busy lifestyle he once had. He struggles with health challenges, something he believes was caused by his long career in films. He has spoken about the difficulty in doing what he could do before. But that's just the surface. What is even more heartbreaking is how his life has changed in ways you might not expect. Redford has recounted all he has been through, from his early years to this moment, as he nears 90. It is sad seeing how he lives now, the struggles, the losses. It's a story that's both touching and sad to hear. Stay tuned as we reveal the details of his heartbreaking journey. Redford's personal life has been shaped by deep losses, making his journey both inspiring and heartbreaking. It all began when he was young. At just 18, Robert Redford lost his mother, Martha Hart, to complications during childbirth. She had been a loving and supportive figure, always encouraging his creativity and independence. Her sudden death left him struggling to cope with the emptiness that followed. For a young man about to step into adulthood, losing his mother created a deep emotional wound that stayed with him for the rest of his life. And as if losing his mother wasn't hard enough, Redford faced an even greater tragedy just a few years later. In 1958, he married Lola Van Wagenen. The young couple soon faced a heartbreaking tragedy. In 1959, he and his wife, Lola Van Wagenen, lost their first son, Scott Anthony, to sudden infant death syndrome. The baby was only 2.5 months old. The loss was unbearable, leaving the couple heartbroken and questioning how life could be so cruel. The loss was crushing, especially as they were already facing financial challenges. Redford later called this one of the darkest times of his life. Despite this pain, he and Lola leaned on each other and decided to keep building their family. They went on to have 3 more children, Shauna, James, and Amy. However, their troubles were far from over. Their second son, James, was born prematurely and had serious breathing problems caused by hyaline membrane disease, which put his life at risk. Against the odds, James survived, but the experience left deep scars on the family, and Redford carried those worries with him for years. Watching his children struggle became one of his hardest challenges as a father. He once shared that nothing hurt him more than seeing his children in pain. This was especially true with James, who faced more health problems in his teenage years. James Redford developed ulcerative colitis, a chronic illness that later led to cirrhosis of the liver. At 31, he underwent a liver transplant, which brought hope to the family, but complications forced him to have another transplant. The stress and worry weighed heavily on Redford and his family. Even as a busy actor and director, he was always there for his son. During the filming of Quiz Show in New York, he flew to Omaha every weekend to be by James's side in the hospital. James eventually recovered and built a meaningful life as a filmmaker and environmental advocate. But it was not the end of his tragedies. Redford later spoke about how helpless he felt during that time, saying that it was one of the hardest experiences he ever endured. Although his career began to take off, the pain of losing his son never left him. Yet another painful chapter came when his marriage to Lola ended in 1985. His marriage to Lola Van Wagenen was once seen as one of Hollywood's strongest. They married before he became a global star and worked hard to build a life together. But their relationship was shaped by both personal tragedies and his demanding career in Hollywood. As his fame grew, he was often away from home for long periods, leaving his wife to handle their home and the children's health issues alone. Lola put her own dreams aside to support the family, which placed a heavy burden on her shoulders. Later, his career reached new heights, with major films like The Natural and Out of Africa, keeping him away from home for months. This distance affected their relationship, and in 1985, they separated after 28 years of marriage. In their marriage had survived many ups and downs, but the divorce marked the end of a relationship that had been a major part of Redford's life. Lola had been with him through thick and thin, and their separation left him feeling even more alone. While they ended things on good terms, it was still a big loss for Redford. In an interview, he described their decision to divorce as mutual, but full of regret. Though their marriage ended, Redford and Lola remained close friends, bonded by their deep love for their children. Reflecting on their time together, he expressed his sorrow not only over the separation, but also over its impact on their family. Even in his professional life, Redford couldn't escape loss. One of his closest friends and collaborators, Paul Newman, passed away. Their partnership in films like Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid was legendary, and their friendship extended far beyond the silver screen. Newman's death left a void in Redford's life, as he lost not only a friend, but someone who had shared his journey in Hollywood. And then, heartbreak came again when Redford's son James died in 2020. James was only 58 years old when he lost his battle with bile duct cancer. For Redford, losing a son brought a unique kind of pain, as it was a generational loss that left a deep emotional impact. His grief was quiet but profound, showing how much these losses had shaped him over the years. Moreover, Redford's brother, William, also passed away in recent years. Losing a sibling is never easy, especially when they've been part of your life for so long. William's death added to the heavy burden of loss that Redford was already carrying. Siblings often share memories and a bond that no one else can fully understand, and William's absence further isolated Redford from his past. Even though Redford has found love again with his second wife, Sybil Zaggers, his life remains overshadowed by grief. There are reports Redford spends much of his time alone, reflecting on the many losses he has endured. While his marriage has provided some comfort, the emotional toll of so much heartache cannot be ignored. His quiet life with Sybil is marked by reflection rather than celebration, as he struggles to deal with his past. Over time, Redford has spoken about how loss has changed his life. He has turned his pain into something positive. He uses his energy to help the environment and support new filmmakers. These efforts show his desire to leave a positive mark on the world, even as he carries the burden of grief. For Redford, life's challenges have inspired him to find meaning in helping others. But his private nature means that much of his mourning happens away from the public eye. Redford hardly discusses his losses openly, choosing instead to process his grief quietly. While this approach has helped him maintain his dignity, it has also made his pain harder to share. Mourning in silence has been both a strength and a struggle for Redford, as it keeps his emotions hidden even from those who admire him. Ultimately, all of these losses have left a lasting mark on Redford's life. At nearly 90 years old, he continues to reflect on his life and the people he has loved and lost. His story is one of strength in the face of unimaginable pain. While the world celebrates his achievements, Redford's true legacy is his ability to endure. However, beyond these personal losses, Redford has also faced some heartbreaking moments in his career. Whatever they were, it's clear that they have left a lasting impact on his life. And it's obviously what may have shaped how he lives. Now that he is almost 90, keep watching to uncover another sad reality of Redford's life that many didn't know. Sad moments in Robert Redford's career. Robert Redford's career hasn't been all rosy as many may have thought. For all the fame he has achieved, his journey in Hollywood has not been an easy one. Behind the success story, there are stories of challenges, disappointments, and personal battles that have shaped his path. But his early days in the industry were filled with rejection and uncertainty. When Robert Redford began chasing his dream of becoming an actor, he faced countless auditions that ended in disappointment. Casting agents often saw him as just another hopeful in a crowded field of aspiring actors. During these tough years, he took small theater roles to get by, all while questioning if he was good enough to make it. Life in New York City was expensive, and the competition was high, but Redford refused to give up. And when success did come, it didn't shield him from harsh criticism. Although he became known as a brilliant actor, his work as a director didn't always receive the same praise. One of his films, Lions for Lambs, which tackled political themes, was met with sharp criticism. Reviewers labeled it preachy, and audiences largely stayed away from theaters. For Redford, this was hard to accept, as he had hoped the movie would spark important conversations. The poor reception was a painful reminder that even seasoned filmmakers could face setbacks in an unpredictable industry. Yet the physical demands of filmmaking was just as challenging as the emotional ones. Redford often pushed his body to its limits just to stuff his movie character to life. When shooting Jeremiah Johnson, he worked in harsh, freezing conditions in the Rocky Mountains, enduring long hours to deliver a convincing performance. Over time, such efforts caught up with him, contributing to serious health issues. But even his greatest achievements brought challenges. Redford's creation of the Sundance Institute was meant to support independent filmmakers by giving them a platform to showcase their work. However, as the Sundance Film Festival grew in popularity, it began facing criticism for becoming too commercialized. Many felt it had shifted away from its original purpose, focusing more on big-money deals and less on independent voices. For Redford, this was disheartening, as Sundance had always been close to his heart. And then there was the criticism of his personal choices. Redford's private nature set him apart in an industry where openness often led to popularity. He hardly shared details about his personal life, leading some to call him distant or aloof. While he valued his privacy, this approach sometimes created misunderstandings. He wasn't trying to isolate himself from Hollywood, but wanted to maintain some normalcy. As time passed, Redford faced the reality of losing his place in the industry. Hollywood, always drawn to the next big thing, began changing its focus to younger stars and new trends. While Redford remained respected, his projects no longer captured the attention they once did. This change was not easy for him to accept, as it marked the decline of an era where he had been a central figure. But he didn't avoid talking about getting older and being weaker in his later work. Films like All Is Lost and The Old Man and the Gun allowed him to explore these topics with honesty. In many ways, these roles mirrored his own reflections on life, as he faced the realities of growing older. audiences appreciated the depth of these performances, but for Redford, they were also deeply personal, reflecting his inner struggles. And beneath his admired image was a man struggling with a lot of pressure. As one of Hollywood's most admired stars, Redford often felt pressured to maintain an ideal image. This expectation left little room for missteps, making it difficult for him to fully express himself. He once described how exhausting it was to live up to these standards, as they overshadowed his true self. And not every project he pursued turned out as he had hoped. Over the years, several of his personal projects either failed to get off the ground or didn't meet fans' expectations. Films he was passionate about were canceled or performed poorly at the box office. These setbacks were hard for him to accept, as they represented missed opportunities to tell stories he cared about deeply. When he announced his retirement from acting in 2018 after The Old Man and the Gun, it felt like the end of an era. While fans celebrated his incredible career, the announcement also carried a sense of finality. For Redford, stepping away from acting was about more than just aging. It was about coming to terms with his legacy and the realization that his time in the spotlight was drawing to a close. But even his activism wasn't free from challenges. Redford has been a passionate advocate for environmental causes throughout his life, using his platform to speak out on critical issues. However, his views sometimes sparked backlash from those who disagreed with his stance. Despite the criticism, Redford never wavered in his commitment to protecting the planet, even when it added stress to an already demanding career. And, as he reflects on his life, one question continues to weigh on him. How will he be remembered? At nearly 90 years old, Redford has expressed concerns about the legacy he will leave behind. Will people focus on his films, his activism, or the personal challenges he overcame? It's a question that reveals the depth of his desire to leave a meaningful impact on the world. But that's not all. Redford is now facing another big challenge. His health is a concern, and many wonder what's next. Stay tuned to know more about Robert Redford's current health issues. Robert Redford's current state of health. For Robert Redford, his journey with health has been full of ups and downs. It all began when he was just a child and faced a terrifying battle with polio. In various interviews, Redford has spoken about his childhood experience with polio. At that time, before vaccines were common, polio was a feared disease. Many children who got it were left unable to walk or live normal lives. Redford was one of the lucky ones who survived, but the experience left a deep mark on him. Years later, his work in movies brought new health problems. Spending decades on sets surrounded by loud sounds, explosions, engines, and chaotic scenes left him with hearing loss. The constant noise affected him badly, and now he struggles with significant hearing issues. Even so, he kept going, showing that his passion for storytelling was stronger than any challenge. Memory has also become a challenge for Redford as he has grown older. He has spoken openly about how keeping his memory sharp is not as easy as it used to be. For someone who had memorized countless scripts and dialogues throughout his career, this change has been difficult. It serves as a reminder of how aging affects everyone, even those who once seemed unstoppable. Liver problems marked another major turning point in his life. Redford underwent surgery to address issues with his liver. The procedure was serious, but it gave him a second chance. This health scare made him think more deeply about balancing his career with his personal well-being. It was a wake-up call, showing him that even the most active lives need moments of care and rest. Arthritis is another struggle Redford faces. The pain and stiffness caused by this condition have made it harder for him to move and enjoy an active lifestyle. This is especially tough for someone who once loved being outdoors and staying physically active. Yet Redford has found ways to adapt, focusing on less physical activities while still getting involved in the things he loves. Spending so much time outdoors during his career also came with risks. There have been reports that Redford has dealt with skin cancer, which doctors believe was caused by years of exposure to the sun while filming. The diagnosis was a tough one, but he tackled it head-on. He also used his experience to raise awareness about environmental protection. Depression has also been a part of his life, especially during difficult times. Redford has shared how personal losses and career setbacks have affected his mental health. The pressures of fame and the fast pace of Hollywood added to the burden. During these tough periods, he found comfort in nature and creative projects, which helped him heal and move forward. The physically demanding roles he played in his youth also had lasting effects. Over the years, Redford developed chronic back pain, likely from the stunts and action scenes he performed. This pain is now a constant part of his life, reminding him of the intense physical effort he put into making his films. Despite this, he continues to push forward with the same determination that has defined his career. At almost 90, Redford's stamina has naturally declined. Activities that once came easily to him, like climbing mountains or working long hours on a film set, are now much harder. While this change has been challenging, it has also given him more time to reflect. There are also reports that his vision has also been affected by aging. Like many older adults, Redford now deals with vision problems that make everyday tasks more difficult. However, Redford is yet to make a comment on his sight. However, for a man known for his striking features, having a sight challenge will be another tough adjustment. When Robert Redford appears in public today, it's clear that he's not as strong as he used to be. His age and health issues have affected him greatly. But even though he's frail, people still look up to him and respect him. Fans continue to admire him for everything he's done. Even now, he's still an inspiration to many. But then, despite all his tragedies, Redford has had an impressive career. Let's take a closer look at some of his career that many didn't know about. Robert Redford's career. Robert Redford's career began with strong performances on television during the late 1950s and early 1960s. He acted in popular shows like The Twilight Zone, Perry Mason, and Alfred Hitchcock Presents, where his talent quickly stood out. One of his most notable roles was in the voice of Charlie Pont, which earned him an Emmy nomination. This recognition showed that he had a bright future in acting and paved the way for his move to film. His transition to the big screen started with War Hunt in 1962, but it was his role in Barefoot in the Park that made him a star. In this romantic comedy, Redford starred opposite Jane Fonda, bringing humor and charm to the story. However, his true breakthrough came with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where he played the Sundance Kid alongside Paul Newman. The film became an instant classic, and their partnership remains one of the most beloved in movie history. This success launched Redford into the spotlight and began a remarkable chapter in his career. By the 1970s, Redford had established himself as a leading actor, delivering standout performances in major films. In The Candidate, he portrayed a politician caught between idealism and the harsh realities of running a campaign, a role that resonated with audiences. He reunited with Paul Newman in The Sting, a clever crime caper that won 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Later, in All the President's Men, Redford played journalist Bob Woodward, one of the reporters who uncovered the Watergate scandal. The film was commended for its story. While Redford's acting career flourished, he decided to try directing, and his debut was nothing short of incredible. His first film, Ordinary People, was a deep and emotional story about a family dealing with loss and guilt. The film was a huge success, winning 4 Academy Awards, including Best Director for Redford. He went on to direct more acclaimed films, such as A River Runs Through It, which beautifully captured the connection between family and nature, and Quiz Show, which explored morality and deception in the world of television. Beyond acting and directing, Redford made a huge impact on independent film. In 1981, he founded the Sundance Institute, which helps new filmmakers develop their projects. Throughout his career, Redford earned numerous honors for his work. In 2002, he received an honorary Academy Award for his contributions to cinema and independent film. In 2016, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his achievements in film and his dedication to causes that matter. Redford's influence goes beyond movies. He inspired countless people with his creativity and commitment to storytelling. What do you think about Robert Redford's life at almost 90? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.